We have an area and volume problem. This is free response 2, and this will be from the 2014 AB Calculus exam. This will be problem 2. Problem 2 would mean this will be a calculator problem. Let R be the region enclosed by the graph of f of x equals x fourth power minus 2x cubed plus 4. So this one down here, we're going to call this f of x. And the horizontal line, y equals 4, as shown in the graph above to the right. So g of x is going to be this line on top. And part A, find the volume of the solid generated when R is rotated about the horizontal line, y equals -2. So to find that out, I'm going to go ahead and extend down below. So at -2, we're going to take this shape R. Now, the shape R, I'm going to shade in red. So this shading is that area between those two curves. Okay, and we're going to take this area and rotate it around this line, y equals -2. So anyway, to do that, we need to find our intersection points for these two curves. So on the left, this one on the left looks like the point 0, 0. I'm not 100% sure at this point that's what it is, but we can go to calculator and get a graph page and put 4, if x equals 4, there we go, and then get another graph, and this one's going to be x to the fourth power minus 2.3x cubed plus 4, and we see this blue curve that crosses the round line, and we can find the intersection points by going to analyze graph intersection and find the first one where we have the point 0, 4. We already identified, pretty much figured what that was. The next one we have menu, analyze graph, intersection. We have the point 2.3, 4. So let's go ahead and fix this. I said already earlier, didn't I, 0, 0. Well, that's not true, is it? It'll be 0, 4 on the left. So we'll put that in place. And the one on the right here is going to be intersection 2.3, 4. So what this means is that our volume of this shape is going to be pi, and there's pi involved anytime there's rotation, and from the limits of integration of 0 to 2.3, we're going to take the big R on the outside, which is this line. We're going to have 4, and then I'm going to add plus 2. And before I put 4, I'm just going to make it generic at this point and just call it first g of x. So g of x plus 2. Why the plus 2? Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Squared. And we're going to subtract out the little r, which is going to be f of x plus 2 squared, and then dx. And now we just need to put in the numbers for what these are, and we'll be able to find out what that is. So our volume, I'm going to write this down here, equals pi. And while it's on my mind, why did I add this 2? Okay. We have to add 2 for the y equals -2. Okay. And because we will be adding 2 right here, this distance I'm shading in now in blue below, that distance has to be added to create the correct radius of rotation for big R and for little r, so we had to add 2 to each of those. Now back to our actual problem. We have g of x, so that's going to be 4 plus 2. Okay, and we're going to square that and subtract from that. We're going to have x to the 4th power minus 2.3 x cubed plus 4 plus 2, and we're going to square all that, and we have that dx. So next, should be dx right there. Okay, it's not too legible. See if I can get that a little better looking. Okay, that looks a little better. Now we go to our calculator again, and this time we get a calculator page. Control-I, add calculator. We are in degrees, which is inappropriate for a calculus class, but that's not going to detract us in that. I don't think we have a trigonometric ratio. So we're going to go to pi. And then the integral hotkey is going to be shift plus sign. And we're going to go from 0 to 2.3. And then we have open parentheses. I'll put 4 plus 2. We know that's 6, but that'll be fine. We square that. And from that we subtract. Calculator puts in our parentheses nicely for us. Minus 2.3 x cubed plus 4 plus 2 for that additional 2 we have, and we square that, and then we go to dx. We should have 98.8679. So and to the third significant digit, which is what the AP test does, they'll look at 2 things. If you write this down, they'll just look at the first 3 numbers answered, or if you round that number would be 98.868. Either one of these will be scored correctly. Next, part B. Region R is the base of the solid. For this solid, each cross-section perpendicular to the x-axis is an isosceles right triangle with a leg in R. And so just coming up here to the drawing, so it's like you take a little shape here and make of it an isosceles right triangle coming out like this. So we have that triangle. If we had the base up here where the triangle is bigger, the triangle would come out like this, isosceles right triangle. So you're getting a shape, kind of a wedge shape volume. Well, for this, we need to know the area of a triangle, and specifically the area of a isosceles right triangle. Well, the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Now, the area of an isosceles right triangle is 1/2 base times height, but the base and the height are the same, so we can say 1/2 s squared. So that would be for an isosceles right triangle. So what we're going to do here is continue. and set that up, we're going to have, okay, our volume is going to be equal to, now in this case we don't have to rotate at all, so we don't have to worry about that pi. So we're going to go between 0 and 2.3, and we're going to take one half. Remember, that comes from this formula, s squared. And what do we do to find this? Well, parenthesize that to 1/2 of, we have 4, and 4 is our g of x minus our f of x, which is x to the 4th power minus 2.3 x cubed plus 4, and we have to square all this. So we have 1/2 of all this, 4 minus the outside, the upper minus the lower, and we square all that. We have 1/2 that. We have the proper limits of integration. So let's go to our calculator and put that one in. We go get a shift plus. We're going to go again between 0 and 2.3. And we're going to go, we're going to say 0.5 for 1/2 times, we open parentheses here, we're going to say 4 minus, open parentheses again, to place therein our x to the 4th power minus 2.3 x cubed plus 4. Okay, let's see here. Make sure I put this squared in the proper place. So it's going to square all this. We don't want to square at the 0.5, but everything else. I think that should be right. Just be extra careful in checking that out. Press enter. We get 3.57372. 3.57372, and that's just off the calculator. Or if you rounded this to the 3rd decimal place, according to AP standards, you put 3.574. So either one of these answers would be correct. And you notice I didn't underline anything. That's one of the other things you want to do with AP test, is not underline things, because then they will, if you get an answer correct somewhere and you make some mistake in interpretation, you're more likely to be counted correct. Last part, C. The vertical line x equals k divides R into 2 regions with equal areas. Write but do not solve an equation involving integral expressions whose solution gives the value k. So instead of going to the, I'm going to make my little sketch here instead of going to the back page. So you have y equals 4, and then you have this shape here. I'm going to make, the shape comes like this, down, intersects like this. Okay, so you're trying to find, this is a region R, you're trying to find the value k that splits the vertical line. K that splits these areas in 2. And so what you're going to have to do is find the right limit for this. Well, to do that, we're going to have to create the left equals the right. So we can say this area from 0 to k of what? Well, 4 minus x to the fourth power minus 2.3 x cubed plus 4 dx is going to have to equal the area from k to 2.3 of same thing. We have 4 minus x to the fourth power minus 2.3 x cubed plus 4 dx. And is this an equation you can solve? Well, it looks like it may not be. It looks like you have two variables here. Well, really, you have one variable because the integral, the value of the integrals on each side is defined. It's just the x is the unknown. And so it says do not solve. I have actually solved this before. This actually is solvable. But this is the answer, this layout. I hope this has been helpful to you. Good luck, and thanks for viewing.